Jetfire! I'm a mercenary doombringer!
Hello and welcome everybody, thanks to the team over at the Icon Store. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the wicked Aoyi Mech Oversized Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire. Now if you are looking to add this figure here to your collection, he is currently available and in stock right now over at the Icon Store, and for that of course I shall include a link down in the description box below, and also be sure to use the discount code Prime vs Prime for a discount off of your total order. Now I shall be completely upfront right at the beginning of this review and say that this is by far my favourite Black Mamba / Aoyi Mech figure that we have gotten released so far, and as far as an MPM Jetfire is concerned, I have no problem whatsoever in calling this figure that MPM Jetfire. This guy is so well done. Now much like all of the previously released Black Mamba figures, this guy is essentially just an upscaled and slightly improved version of his Studio Series counterpart, although the improvements that have been made to him drastically do amplify his look, especially in robot mode. They have also slapped on a ton of new paint application, all of which you will also mainly see in robot mode, and this figure does in fact have an LED electronic function which really helps to bring him to life, and he can indeed also combine with the Aoyi Mech Revenge of the Fallen Studio Series Optimus Prime review coming to the channel really shortly. So without further ado, let's take a look here at Jetfire in his beautifully created SR-71 Lockheed Martin Blackbird. This guy looks fantastic. Now of course, as he is an upscale of the Studio Series version, you'll pretty much know what to expect with Jetfire here in the jet mode, but it looks so awesome. You can see here for the cockpit, we've got all of those subtle red detailings as well as the metallic blue used here for the actual front cockpit section. We've got these huge thrusters here on the sides which look awesome, as well as that skunk insignia, as well as some other Air Force details. As we turn our attention here to the side, considering this is essentially the Studio Series mold, we still unfortunately do have some robot mode kibble, but I actually thought that the SS version did a terrific job in actually concealing this, especially considering how accurate his robot mode is, and this figure can actually combine as well, so it is really fascinating to me. As we turn here to the underside, this is merely just a sneak preview of all of the excellent detailing that we shall see in robot mode. One of the most noticeable changes here in jet mode is that the landing gear is in fact now pinned on, so this guy can indeed roll along the ground if you so desire. Now you may also be able to tell just by seeing how much of Jetfire is actually off camera how large he is. This is a massive figure. For a comparison, here we have the Studio Series ROTF Deluxe Bumblebee, and you can see that he is completely dwarfed by Jetfire, as he really should be. Honestly, this guy is so impressive as far as scale is concerned, and something which actually really surprised me is that he is indeed cheaper when compared to the Hasbro Jetfire, especially taking into account some of those aftermarket prices. As we just take a look here from the opposite side, we have the same details such as the skunk insignia, albeit this time with some additional red detailing. As we spin around here to the back, you can see some nice thruster detailing. Just an absolute astonishing looking figure. The landing gear can indeed be retracted, so we can just take these and fold these in just like so, and you can also see how the axe does store here on the bottom, as so does the cane. It can fold up here at the front. Considering the transformation is more or less identical to the Studio Series version, I shall do a very quick, almost speed conversion and get Jetfire from his Lockheed Martin into his robot mode. So without further ado, let's ignite him with a shard of the Allspark and bring this old timer back to life. And so after that very quick transformation sequence, here we have Aoyi Mech Jetfire fully transformed up into what I'm pretty certain you shall all be able to agree with me in saying his astounding looking robot mode. Honestly, this guy looks as if though he's leapt straight out of the silver screen and here into my review station, and quite honestly I wish that he had, as Jetfire to me is one of the most charismatic characters to ever grace the Bayformers, and he is by far one of the most memorable and one of my personal favourite characters out of the entire live action movie saga. Something else which you can see is that once again Jetfire does indeed tower over my review station, not even fitting in shot. He is such an enormous piece, and when we do bring out some mainline figures later on in the review, you shall really be able to gather a sense of just how enormous this character truly is. Now you may be able to have seen throughout that transformation sequence that some pieces are in fact designed to detach. Most noticeably would be these components here at the back. Now these primarily detach so that you can utilize them in combined form, or you could just leave them attached onto the back of the leg much like the original version. Some of the most noticeable changes between this incarnation of Jetfire when compared to the Studio Series interpretation is that we now have fully articulated hands, something which was really my only major nitpick with that original figure. And if we just take a look here at the back, you can see that instead of adding a DNA design upgrade kit, Aoyi Mech have actually gone in and completely redesigned the back in order to give you a much more movie accurate looking almost wing pack, and I think it looks superb. You can also see the attention to detail, such as all of the wires and the terrific gunmetal silver that we have going on here in the back, and this here is only a small example of how exquisite the paint truly is on this figure. You can just see he looks extraordinary, so we'll bring him in for a closer look and then of course go through the articulation. So starting off here with Jetfire's head sculpt, you can see that much like his Studio Series counterpart, it looks exceptional. Here with the much larger scale, you truly are able to appreciate all of the exquisite mechanical sculpting and detailing that Hasbro were able to apply to that original release, and it looks superb, even down to the subtle decals that we have here on the front section of this faux cockpit, as well as the wings that we have protruding here off to the sides. You can also see that we have a few additional red paint apps here on the tops of the shoulders in order to better aid his appearance from the movie, and they have actually incorporated an LED electronic function. So if we turn our attention here to the underside of the head, you can see a button which once pushed will indeed activate a really vibrant LED which just brings this character to life, and honestly he looks absolutely sensational. Such a fantastic looking piece, and the paintwork once again for a Black Mamba figure truly has blown me out of the water as it looks so well done. You can see here all of the intricate paintwork that we've got here for the wiring of the bicep, some fantastic looking silver gunmetal sections here at the top as well as on the top parts of these shoulders. As we take a look at the torso, you can see here all of that amazing looking paintwork as well as intricate looking sculpt work. It truly does look like just a statue. You would not believe this figure could transform. They've done such a phenomenal job in the paint and sculpt. You can see as we take a look here down to the lower section, some terrific looking sculpt and paintwork, and then turning our attention here to the arms, they've completely decked out the interior section of the forearm in a really nice metallic silver as well as some golden highlights, and the same can also be said here for the opposite side of the arm. And the hands, considering these are a brand new sculpt, they have been able to achieve a lot more sculpt work as well as once again some fantastic looking paintwork. As we turn our attention here down to Jetfire's thighs, you can see the turbine sections, which too have turned out exceptionally well with all of the intricate detailings here of the wires as well as some copper mechanical detailing there. You can see here for the bottom of the legs, these two have been completely painted, and the feet are indeed an entire die-cast material, so really do add a sense of weight with this character. And considering his knee joints are fairly thin, it's good that he does have a very stable support structure here at the base. As far as articulation is concerned, Jetfire's head is on a ball joint, so it can look left to right, rotate the full 360 as well as hinge forwards and backwards. We get a swivel joint here going forwards and backwards as well as ratchet joints out to the side, something which was not apparent on the original Hasbro version. We get a rotation here at the bicep, 90-degree bend there at the elbow, as well as a double hinge joint here at the wrist, full rotation at the wrist, and all of the fingers are individually articulated at, I believe, 3 points. So here at the thumb, this can rotate forwards and backwards, as well as hinge at the knuckle and there right at the tip, and the same can also be said here for all of the other fingers, which really does help you to actually grasp the included cane that Jetfire comes with. And this too has been sculpted really nicely, albeit just completely cast out of a black plastic, and it would have been nice to see some paint apps applied to these regions, much like we've seen here for the biceps, but nevertheless we unfortunately don't get any form of waist rotation, although the legs are on ratchet joints kicking forwards and backwards. Hinge joint out to the sides, we also do get a ratchet joint here at the knee and here at the lower section of the knee. The ankles too are on ratchet joints forwards and backwards and are also on a soft ratchet joint clicking out to the side. So overall, as far as the articulation is concerned, it is pretty much everything, and in some instances more than what we got with the original version. And you can just see how amazing this Aoyi Mech Jetfire truly has turned out. He looks absolutely terrific, especially with this brand new back component. Besides the walking cane, Jetfire does of course come with his axe accessory. We see him use this in the movie when he does in fact decapitate Mixmaster, and the paint and sculpt work for this is very similar to his Studio Series counterpart, although considering that it is in a much larger scale, you truly are able to appreciate some of those smaller details which may have become missed. And this can simply just peg there into the palm of the hand, and now you can of course wrap all of the fingers around this, and he just looks so awesome, especially there with that LED electronic function. Such a fantastic figure. So without further ado, let's bring in some size comparisons, and that is truly where you'll be able to gather a sense of how enormous this figure truly is. So starting things off with what is probably the most important size comparison, here we have the new Aoyi Mech Jetfire compared next to the Studio Series counterpart. Now my SS version does in fact have all of the DNA design upgrade pieces on him, such as the articulated fingers and of course that entire back assembly, whereas here with the Aoyi Mech figure it's already pre-integrated, so you do not have to add any additional attachments to him at all, and I do believe that if I were to transform the original Hasbro leader back into his jet mode, I would have to take some of those additional components off. So it's great to see that Aoyi Mech's version is already pre-integrated and nothing has to become detached in order to transform him. And you can just see the sheer difference as far as scale is concerned. Aoyi Mech absolutely dwarfs the Studio Series counterpart, and of course I do have him in a crouched position. I believe that if I were to straighten him up a little bit, he would probably be even bigger, maybe even triple the size of the Studio Series rendition. And much like I mentioned earlier on in the review, the Hasbro Studio Series version goes for so much on the aftermarket, so you really are better off picking up the Aoyi Mech version, not only as far as aesthetic is concerned, but also as far as cost is concerned. Now currently my MPM Optimus Prime is fully combined up with the Iron Warrior Jetfire Combiner upgrade kit, so I shan't be able to show you a comparison with that figure, albeit I do have the original Leader Class Dark of the Moon Optimus Prime, the Takara Tomy rendition, and you can see that the scale here is definitely more along the lines of what we would see from the Masterpiece scale. And once again, he's just such an awesome piece and really does blend in rather well with some of these larger Leader Class / MPM style of figures. And so, to conclude my review here for the Aoyi Mech Oversized Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire, if you haven't guessed already by this review, I am absolutely astounded with what they have put out here with this release, especially considering that this is essentially a KO. The quality of this figure alone is so well done. The quality of the plastic as well as the die-cast material, and not to mention the ratchet joints, truly are fantastic, and it's great to see Aoyi Mech actually incorporating additional ratchet joints which were missing on the original Hasbro leader. The figure does of course have some new components. One of the major new components would be the new paint apps, and it really does set this character apart from his original Hasbro rendition. All of the intricate wiring detailing that may have perhaps got lost with that Hasbro version is shown here so clearly, and it truly does make this character pop on the shelf. We of course do have some brand new physical components, such as that entire back assembly, which I think looks fantastic. We get articulated fingers with this guy, which was something I was really hoping to actually see incorporated on the original Hasbro Studio Series version, and we also do get an LED electronic function for the head, which just looks awesome, especially when taking some photography images of this character. Not to mention that he still does retain the feature where he can indeed combine with Aoyi Mech's Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen Optimus Prime, which I should have a review of going up on the channel fairly shortly, so that too is also a great playability factor. And his SR-71 Lockheed Martin Blackbird alt mode looks absolutely fantastic. It's probably never looked better in this larger format. This guy is excellent, and I honestly cannot recommend him enough, especially if you are a fan of not only Revenge of the Fallen, but Jetfire and the Bayformers in general. This guy is so cool and really does exude that charismatic personality that we saw on the silver screen, especially as far as his detail, sculpt and articulation is concerned. So with all that being said, if you are looking to add this character here to your collection, he is currently available and in stock right now over at the Icon store, and for that of course I shall include a link down in the description box below, and be sure to use that discount code Prime vs Prime for a discount off of your total order. I would love to know down in the comment section below on what you guys think of this figure. Shall you be adding him to your collection? Do you agree with me in saying that this is by far the best transformable option we have for Revenge of the Fallen Jetfire, or are you more than sufficed with your original Hasbro version? I thank you all for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.